Isn't it crazy how students can scroll on their phones for hours and hours, but they can't pay attention in class for like 5 minutes, 3 minutes without saying, I'm bored or can I go to the bathroom or something like that, right? Isn't it crazy that we just can't be engaged in class, but students are so engaged and engrossed in their technology or on their phones? And the issue with that is, as we are trying to engage today's learners, we want to make sure that they are receiving the information that we're teaching. It's really hard for them to retain the information because they're not interested and they're not engaged. So now they're not remembering things. But if we really want them to retain information, we really want them to hold on to it so that they remember things, we've got to figure out how to engage them. So we've got to figure out how to engage students. And the best way I can think about how to engage students is the way that I connected with my high school girlfriend. Can I can I tell you about that real quick? Oh man, my high school girlfriend. So this is me and my high school girlfriend. And when I remember we were dating at like 17 years old, and we were at college, Open University, and the college is known for music, for singing. So we were in the church service one day, and there was a guy that got up to sing. We were sitting in church, we were holding hands, having a good time. And I just remember that he started singing, and he hit this riff, this run that was, ridiculous. Like it was real fancy. And then she let go of my hand and she was like, "Ooh, ooh, I like that." And I was like, "Hold on. You don't let go of my hand to talk about how good some other guy's singing. It's not even that good. He's all right. He's just all right." And so then he kept singing. Then he hit this note, this high note, this whoop, like way up there, and then this long run. And she stood up and she started, "Boy, you better sing. You better sing." And I was sitting there like, "Yo, he's not even that good. Stop playing. He's not even like it's okay." Just being a hater, right? Just being a hater. But in that moment, I was thinking, okay, so clearly the singing is attracting to her, is attractive to her. Like she's attracted to his singing voice. So that must be what she likes. So from there on out, I started singing all the time. Anniversaries, birthdays. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy birthday. Like I'm coming with it. Because obviously, if she's attracted to singing and I want her to be attracted to me, I said, let me go ahead and be a singer. That's why about 4 years later, I ended up singing her down the aisle. Yes, yes, yes. She ended up becoming my wife. And on that day, literally on our wedding day, I was singing her down the aisle. Because listen, if you are attracted to guys that sing, I'm going to become the guy that sings, because I loved her and cared about her so much that I wanted to be with her, that I was like, man, if this is what it takes to attract you, let me become the thing that attracts you. If you're attracted to singing, I remember the look in her eyes when Paul was hitting. I told you I'm never gonna forget his name. When Paul was hitting those notes, and I was like, dang, like you really are into guys that can sing. Let me become a singer. It makes sense, right? True or false? Let me know in the comment section. It doesn't make sense to become the thing that is attracting the person that we want to attract, right? Doesn't it make sense? And if that is the case, why don't we do the same thing with our engagement strategies? The thing that is attracting students is short form content, reels, TikToks, these things that are going viral. These are things that are attracting students. Why don't we make our lessons more like those things? The thing that attracts students, why don't we make our lessons more like those things? Right. And I just need to let you know that all my singing paid off, because there we go. My wife, my two kids, it worked out for us. Right. So why don't we model our attempts at engaging students after the thing that engages students? If we know that what's engaging students are these this short form content, reels, TikToks, again, why don't we do these things? And I'm not saying that we need to get up and start dancing, but I'm saying there are proven principles that help content go viral. And we can use those principles to help our lessons be more engaging. So let's rock and roll and let's make that happen today. So what we're going to be able to do over these next couple of minutes is master these 10 principles so that you can happily teach new information that students actually retain and increase student achievement data. That's the goal. That's what I'm all about. I help new teachers improve student achievement data, or have a big impact on student achievement data without burning out, without feeling unsupported, and without changing who they are. And this is one of the ways that we can increase student achievement data, by being more engaging. There are 10 principles. This is literally what I did. I looked at what makes content go viral. And synthesized it and broke it down into categories and broke down the principles. And I said, wow, so these are things that are making long, short form content go viral. I'm talking thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of views. That's obviously what's engaging our students. So how about we take those same principles and learn how to create engaging lessons? If you're excited, let me know that you're excited. Let's dive into it. I want to show you these 10 principles. Looking at the time, I'll probably show you like 3 or 4 of them, but in the comment section or in the caption box, in the description box, wherever you're watching this video, you'll see all 10. I promise I didn't want to hold anything back, but these are all 10. Let me show you. The first thing that you have to do is know your audience. Content that does well, things that go viral, it comes from creators who knows their audience. They say the creator that knows their audience best wins. And I like to say the teacher that knows the students best win. So when you understand your students' preferences, interests, behaviors, you can tailor your lessons so that you can resonate with them. It's really about building relationships. Knowing who's in the classroom is going to help you know how to reach them, right? So in the comment section, Candace is asking what grade levels. These are principles that are going to work for all grade levels. Building relationships, knowing your audience, knowing your students, I guarantee you is going to help you if you understand what interests your first grade class, what they're into, and you build strong relationships with them. You are able to now to craft and create lessons that speaks directly to them and their interests. I was in a third grade class not too long ago, and the teacher, he was doing a math lesson, and he used the student's name from the classroom. Simple to y'all. Simple strategy, right? He used the student's name in the classroom, and when I say they perked up and they were interested and they were engaged and they were paying attention, something as small as just showing the students that they are a part of the learning environment is super huge and super impactful. So knowing your audience, knowing who they are, knowing what they like, knowing what they're into, that's what helps content go viral. That's what can help your lessons go viral. Number 2, hook them, teach them, let them go. One of the things that makes short form content so interesting is that it's quick and to the point. So I'm not saying that your lessons need to be 60 seconds or less, but what I'm saying is first, let's go ahead and capture their attention early. Think about, they say that a view, you know how they say this video has a certain amount of views? A view is considered a view after 3 seconds. That means that if you watch something for more than 3 seconds, it's considered a view. That means that if you watch something for more than 3 seconds, they got you. Okay, now maybe you don't watch the whole video. Maybe you don't watch the whole video every time. Maybe you scroll on. Maybe you stop paying attention at some point. But if they did something within those first 3 seconds to make you say, "Let me see what this is all about." What are you doing in the first portion of your class that's making students say, "Let me see what this lesson is all about"? That's why it's so important to start with bell ringers, to start with do nows, to start with attention grabbing, to start with warm ups. When students are coming in and getting started for the lesson, how are we activating their learning? So think about that short form, the 3 second hook. Again, it doesn't have to happen in 3 seconds, but it has to happen quickly. We get right in and get right to teaching. And then you get right to the main point. And as soon as you get to the point, move on to the next thing. All right. So once I deliver the point, now we're doing a check for understanding. Once I deliver the point, now we're going into practice. Once I deliver the point, now we're going to assess. It's back to back, and we're moving right along. Hook them at the beginning with some sort of launch or some sort of way to activate their learning. Then get to the main point quickly. What is the objective of the day? What is the breaking down the standards? What is it that we intended to teach today? Get to that point quickly and then assess right away. Make sure that students got it. That is the formula for viral content, and that is the formula for engaging lessons. So the next thing, I'm trying to run through these. I'm trying to give you as much as possible tonight. Tell a compelling story. Man, telling a compelling story. I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was in a school in San Diego, and I told a story to the middle school students about how I lost my middle school girlfriend in a fight. I don't know why I always like using my relationships in my examples, but but even tonight, right? But I told a story about how I lost my middle school girlfriend playing basketball in a bet, right? And I talked to them about making poor decisions, basically. And then a student came up to me afterwards. After I told that story on stage, he came up to me afterwards and he said, "Man," he said, "Mr. Williams, what skills should I be building now in order to have a strong foundation so that I can live the life that I choose?" And because he connected so much with the story, he was then able to think about it through his own lens and apply it to his own life. And what I need you to understand is when you are telling stories throughout the lesson using a narrative approach, it's super engaging and students pay attention. As a matter of fact, I just used a story to demonstrate the power of storytelling. So as I was telling the story, I'm sure you're imagining me standing on stage. You're imagining me telling this story about me losing my girlfriend in a bet. You're imagining the student come up to me and ask me the question, right? You're seeing it. And when you use this type of approach, using a narrative approach, telling stories, it's a super powerful tool for engagement because now students are interested and engaged, especially first graders, right? Especially the young students. I want you to try this. Try this in the next time you go to class. We're on spring break right now, but if you have class tomorrow, try this. Say, let me tell you a story about, and whatever you say next doesn't even matter. But I guarantee you, if you scan the room, watch, you may have not all eyes attentive. You may not have everybody looking at you. But if you say, let me tell you a story about, I guarantee you 2 or 3 more students are going to look up. People are just into stories. So practice storytelling approach, or practice perfecting or becoming better as a storyteller, and interject that throughout the lesson. It'll continue to keep students engaged as you're going through the lesson. All right. Throughout, as you're using storytelling approaches, you're going to use imagery, you're going to use humor, you're going to use connection. It's going to evoke emotion and it's going to pique the interest in students. All right. That's number 3. Number 4, create shareable content. Content that goes viral is shareable. What does it mean by shareable? When you're watching, when watching a reel or TikTok, and you're like, man, this is a little interesting. I got to send this to somebody. And you click share and you send it to somebody. The reason why you do that is because watch this. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. Don't miss this. The reason why you shared it is because the creator who created it was so clear with their delivery that you understood not only the message, but you also understood who else would connect with it. Does that make sense? Like, I share videos in my family group chat all the time. I'll see a video about somebody breaking down like his love for sneakers or something like that. And my younger brother is a sneakerhead. So I'm just like, oh man, that's crazy. You would love this, like this interesting sneaker fact. And I'm gonna send it to my brother. Why? Because the creator of that video did it. The creator of that video so clearly articulated his point that not only did I understand it, but I also in my brain connected it to somebody who I know in my personal life that would receive value from it. And that's the same thing we want to do with our lessons. Make our lessons shareable in that we're delivering it so strongly, so clearly, like so directly that the student not only understands it, but they in their brain think, wow, somebody else would benefit from this. Let me share this information. Let me put it like this. I want you to think about a lesson that you've heard about through a student, a lesson that another teacher did in their class that you heard about through a student. Like some people say, like dissection. If you're not a science teacher, you heard about the day that they dissected the frog, right? If you were in your ELA class and they came to you, they're like, guess what, Miss Robinson, we dissected a frog today, right? Or for me, sometimes I'll hear students that come to me and they'll talk about a project that they did in STEM class or something of that nature. You never heard anybody come to you and say, man, guess what? In Mr. Williams' class, man, we did this worksheet. Ooh, that thing had 14 questions. He printed front and back. Like nobody's sharing that information, right? And I'm not saying never use worksheets. I'm just saying, what in the delivery of your content, is it interesting enough that they want to continue talking about it? There are things that we can do to make it interesting enough that they would then want to talk about. Be clearly communicating and make it interesting enough that they would want to share that with somebody else. That's what it means to create shareable content. All right, come on. The next thing, utilize trends and challenges. You've seen trending sounds on TikToks and Reels and things like that. What that basically means is weave current events and relevant topics into the lesson. So what's happening right now? What's going on? All right, what are things that are interesting? In February, we can talk about love and Valentine's Day. I don't know why I'm on a relationship tip tonight, right? But in February, we can talk about love and Valentine's Day, right? And I don't know, March is Women's History Month. So we're bringing in interesting women's facts. Or even if we're in a middle school or high school and we have a game against our rival school, we can bring in the Spirit Week, or we can bring in the pep rally. We can bring in some information about players from the other school. Like, what is relevant and what is on the top of their mind right now? What's going to help engage our students? As my son is getting excited, what's going to help engage our students is staying relevant to the things that they are caring about. If we're consistently or continuing to talk about things that happened years and years ago and time ago, that's not what they're caring about. They're caring about right now. I was just talking to somebody else about this earlier. Students are really interested in the now, the today, the what's happening right now. This is what I care the most about. Don't tell me this is going to help me for my future, even though it will. I'm just worried about right now. So, what are the things that they're interested in? What are the things that they care about? What are the things that's keeping their attention outside of school now? Can we weave that into our instruction? All right. By doing this, is going to help content become, it's going to help your lessons become more engaging. All right, let's breeze through these last couple. All right, those were the first five. Normally, right here, I take a break to summarize the first five. We talked about them, but also I want to let you know that in order to really go through all 10 of them, man, I created this training that this slide deck actually comes from. This training, I recorded it and put it online. The link is in the description below, just so that you can take your time and go through all 10 of them. I know right now I feel like I'm breezing through them, but go through all 10 of them to really understand some principles and some strategies for pulling engagement into your classroom. Number 6 is to optimize for mobile. What does that mean? Short form content is viewed on the phone. It's always viewed on the phone. It's short form. So, man, we were just outside today. My family and I, we went to go get some yogurt. Some frozen yogurt, some ice cream. And my wife asked somebody to take a picture of us. And he was like, do I take it like this or do I take it like this? It was an older guy. And we're like, take it straight up. He's like, oh, okay, you're gonna put it on social media. Yeah, because that's the wave right now. And I said, yeah, it's 2024, man. Everything's going on social media. So optimize it for mobile. When we're recording videos for short form content, it's going to be vertical videos. It's going to be straight up and down, not sideways. That's more like on YouTube, but straight up and down is vertical. What does that have to do with the classroom? Listen, you want to deliver the lesson in the easiest way for them to receive the information. The reason why we take pictures straight up and down, the reason why we record videos, vertical videos straight up and down for reels and TikToks and things like that is because that's the best way for the viewer to receive it. Nobody's going to turn the phone sideways to watch the video, right? So we put it straight up and down. What is the best way for your students to receive the information? The way that you can kind of think about this is to ask yourself the question, is this the way that I receive information or is this the way that they receive information? When you just stand at the front of the classroom and talk, is that the best way for them to receive information? Probably not. You want to optimize for mobile. You want to do it in such a way that the students are at the forefront of receiving that information. Whether it's in using technology to engage them, whether it's being kinesthetic, allow them to get up, to touch things, to move around. What is the best way for them to receive the information? Not what is the best way for you or the easiest way for you to deliver the information. Shift that mindset, and that'll help you with your student engagement. All right. Next thing, create attention grabbing thumbnails. The thumbnail is a thing that you see before you click on the video. And what it does is it makes a promise that the video ultimately delivers on. And what you want to do in your class is you want to make their first introduction one that evokes curiosity and not fear. It makes them curious and say, oh man, what is it that we're going to be learning today? That's an attention grabbing thumbnail. You're setting it up in such a way that it makes them interested to watch the rest of the lesson. That's the purpose of an effective thumbnail. A lot of times you see thumbnails and people are on a thumbnail like the craziest thing just happened. Right. And then you like, man, let me watch this video to see what crazy thing just happened. Using that principle in our classrooms, it's like, okay, how do we set this lesson up in such a way that it makes students interested and evoke curiosity to say, I wonder where this lesson is going. Now, a bad thumbnail makes a promise that the video does not deliver on. That's called clickbait. I'm giving you all the tools. I'm giving you all the information. Somebody's taking notes. A clickbait is when it's like, Beyonce and Jay-Z separated. And then you click on the video and it has nothing to do with that. And they're like, well, they didn't really separate. So here's what happened, right? So that's not what we want to do. But what we want to do is create an atmosphere or launch the lesson in such a way that it makes the students interested to see what's going to happen next. And then the lesson actually deliver on that thing. So you can say, man, let me show you how much a planet weighs. How many of y'all know how much a planet weighs? And they're like, I don't know. Let's figure out how much a planet weighs. I'm gonna show you how to use scientific notation. All right. I'm gonna show you how to use scientific notation. And then by using scientific notation, we can weigh planets, right? So we're making a promise at the beginning that the video ultimately delivers on. John, don't worry. You said he missed the beginning. You're gonna see the replay as soon as I end the stream in a couple minutes here. You got it. You can just go back to the beginning and watch it. But also the training in the description below is a deep dive on everything I'm talking about. And you can read through all 10 of the principles. We're on number 8 right now, which is encouraging user participation. We're trying to engage our students. To engage the students, make sure we're encouraging participation. on short form content, what that looks like is make sure you like, share, subscribe. You've heard that right before. Comment down below, right? You've heard that before, right? And the crazy thing is, a lot of times in the comment sections, we're not even talking to the person that created the video. We're responding to other people's comments. We're liking other people's comments. That's what our classrooms should feel like. We're at the front of the classroom, or we teach the lesson, but then we allow there to be discourse among students about the thing that we were just teaching. Turn and talk. All right. To think, pair, share. We're allowing there to be discourse about the conversation, about the lesson that we just taught. That's encouraging user participation. It's effective for short form videos. It's effective in our classrooms as well. It's really important for students to have their hand in the learning, because when you hear, you forget. When you see, you remember. But watch this. When you do, you understand. And the brain that does the work does the learning. So if students' brains are doing the work, students are doing the learning. If you're standing at the front of the classroom lecturing the whole time, your brain is doing the work. Congratulations, you're learning seventh grade math. Congratulations, you're learning first grade phonics, right? But you already know that stuff. So your brain shouldn't be the one doing the work. You should force their brains to do the work. The way we do that is by allowing them to have discourse and encouraging user participation. All right, the goal of this was to be 15 minutes. We're at 21, but I'm gonna keep it going. We're landing this plane right here, right now. Watch this. Number 9, collaborate with other influencers. What does that mean? That means work with other people who are, and maybe even in other content areas. I know I have a first grade teacher watching on the call. I know I have a middle school teacher watching on the call. And in middle school, maybe these are the concepts that we were using in math, but hey, we can use them in science too. Right? In first grade, it's like, I know that you guys were doing this in art, doing this in music. Watch how that lends itself to this literary component, right? So some of the things that are going on in other classrooms, bringing it in together, it's always interesting to students when they see their teachers collaborating and working together. All right, we have third graders in there as well. So third grade, this is the concept that we see this is a concept that we see in math, but also, oh, this is what I love, especially when we're talking about word problems. It's like, so when we're annotating in English, this is also something we can do to break down math word problems. And their minds are blown. They're like, what? This English concept is working for my math? Yes, it is. Right? So it's super, super important to be able to collaborate with other influencers, meaning you work with other teachers in other discipline areas and bring in other interdisciplinary studies into your particular lesson. That's going to help students it's going to pique their interest again and allow them to receive new information. All right. I love that, Ebony. I love that. I love that you tell them that it all works together, because it does. It all works together. The last one, promote across platforms. Viral short form content. You'll probably see this. People will say, hey, go check out my page. I just released a new video. Right? They're telling you on Instagram to go watch their YouTube video, or they're telling you on YouTube to go check out their new TikTok reel, right? So they're pointing you to other platforms, and that helps content go viral. What does that mean for our students? I'm glad you asked, right? Making other stakeholders aware of what's taking place in your classroom, letting parents know this is the unit that we're studying, letting stakeholders and other community members know, like sending out newsletters, this is what we're working on in class. Because when we're doing that, it's holding students accountable. So parents may not always be able to help them with the information, but if parents know, like, okay, we're working on, I'll have a third grader on here, we're working on single digit multiplication, right? The parents can go home, even if they can't help them. They're like, hey, I know you're working on single digit multiplication in school. You understand it? You get it? You did your homework, right? But they're able to hold them accountable. That's going to increase engagement, because they know it's not just me that cares about it. It's not just my parents that care about it. It's not just my teacher that cares about it. We all care about this thing, right? So promoted across platforms. And that means foreshadowing the things that are to come. So right now we're working on single digit multiplication, right, Ebony? Well, not right now. This is the end of the year. You've passed that already, right? But the reason why we're doing this is because it's going to make division a lot easier. Like foreshadowing to let them know, okay, stay engaged in this lesson because it's going to help me in future lessons. That's what promoting across platforms looks like in the classroom, right? And I know, man, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. This is a lot. This was fast. Like, you just breezed through this in 25 minutes. Yes, I know, but I need you to understand there are classrooms across the nation that are engaging our students every day, which means it's possible. And I need you to hear me say this. If it is possible, you are capable. If it is possible, You are capable. You can do this, right? These principles, again, I found it super interesting that these are the principles that help with short form content to go viral. But if short form content going viral is what is keeping our students engaged, which is why they can stay on their devices for hours and hours and hours, short form content strategies, the 10 that I just gave you, are going to help our lessons to be more engaging. And what's going to be really, really helpful is if you help somebody walk you through it and guide you through it, right? As we went through just one lesson here, of course, you can go back and watch the replay. But what would be awesome is if you had somebody to just walk you through this thing to give you some actionable steps. This was an overview, but to get some real actionable steps, this is what you should try. The training that I linked in the description below will really help unlock that for you. And the crazy thing is it's completely free. It's a $2,000 course that I decided let's go ahead and give it for free because so many people are asking, how do I engage my classroom? And I don't want price to be a barrier. So I said, let's remove the price barrier. I just wanted to give this to as many people as possible. Let's go ahead and make it free. So I took the price off. Let's go ahead and I want you to use this thing to engage your students as we're going down the back end of the year right now. I know I'm on spring break. So as we're going down the back end of the year, it's really important as we approach testing, as we approach the end of grade, to engage our students so that they can receive and retain the information, right? Somebody said if they didn't learn it, you didn't teach it. You may have spoken it, you may have said it, but they didn't learn and retain it. I can't say that you taught it because to teach something means that they received and understood it. And the way that we help students receive and understand is by making sure that we are engaging. Students will be interested in things that are engaging. So check out that full training. It's about an hour long, maybe an hour and 3 minutes or something of that nature, but it's broken down into modules so that you can really stop, so that you can really take your time, so that you can go through and just really take away some actionable steps. Because my whole goal is for you to be able to increase student engagement so that you can have a big impact on student achievement data. I hope that was super helpful. And if so, join me next Tuesday where we'll have another new teacher, Big Impact Live. I can't wait to see you. Take care.